Hello, gentlemen viewers. In this video, we will watch the rest. The first episode of the story of the orphan girl. I smiled, and I said correct. You are a newborn. You are mine. She repeated her sentence simply and innocently. I couldn't help myself, and I burst out laughing. And because I laughed strangely, Raghad started laughing too. And the more I hear her beautiful laughter, the more I laugh. I asked her again. Who am I? You are mine. What a funny little thing. I held it, and started swinging it in the air with pleasure. Since that day, the little one began to compose me, and I became the most responsible for calming her whenever she decided to shake the walls with her sharp voice. Summer vacation is over, and we are back to school. Whenever I came home from school, I was warmly received by little Raghad. She was running towards me, and stretching her arms towards me, asking me to pick her up and swing her in the air. This made her very happy, and her wonderful laughter went off to tickle the walls of the house. On the other hand, Dana was screaming in protest and anger, and then attacking my legs with a stream of blows and punches, ordering me to carry her, like Raghd. And then the situation became unbearable. And after she was so happy for the little one to come to us, she started stalking her to hurt her in one way or another. One day I was busy doing my homework when I heard the sound of Raghad's famous crying. I didn't pay attention to it. It became normal and predictable every moment. I continued my work and ignored the crying that was getting closer and closer. The sound cut out, so I expected Mom to have taken care of it. Moments later, I heard a light knock on the door of my room. Enter. No one came in. I waited a bit, then got up and explored it. And how surprised I was when I saw Raghad standing behind the door. Tears were pouring profusely from her eyes, her face was sullen and gloomy, Tears were pouring profusely from her eyes, her face was sullen and gloomy, her tears were suppressed in her chest, she was sighing in pain and some bloody scratches were randomly drawn on her innocent face, and a reddish bruise was in the middle of her white forehead. I felt a painful fist in my heart. Raghd. What happened? The little one burst into a strong cry, she locked him in her chest. I stretched out my hand and lifted it to my lap and made me stamp on it and try to calm her down. This time she was crying in pain. Is she Dana? Is she the one who attacked you? It must be naughty Dana. I felt angry, and I headed to where Dana was, and he lay on my arm. Dana was in her room sitting among a bunch of toys. When she saw me, she stood up, and did not come to me asking for her pregnancy, like Raghd, as usual, but stood looking at the burning anger on my face. Dana, are you the one who beat little Raghad? She didn't answer, so she repeated the question louder. Aren't you the one who beat Raghad? You're a brat. She's taking my toys. I don't want her to touch my toys. I approached Dana and I grabbed her hand and I gave her a light blow on the palm and I'm going to say. Don't do that again, brat, or I'll throw your toys out the window. The blow was not painful, however, Dana began to cry. As for Raghd, she stopped him, while the last 2 tears remained hanging on her cheeks, which were disfigured by scratches. I looked at her and wiped away her tears. It was so small that I printed a kiss full of saliva on my cheeks in gratitude. I smiled. It was the first time this creature kissed me. However, it was not the last. The days rolled by and we are the same. However, Raghd over time became very fun. She became a joy that filled the house and everyone attached to her and loved her very much. She is a child that anyone wishes she could live in their home. Because the jealousy grew between Raghd. The days rolled by and we are the same. However, Raghd over time became very fun. She became a joy that filled the house and everyone attached to her and loved her very much. She is a child that anyone wishes she could live in their home. Because the jealousy grew between Raghd and Dana as they got older, the two girls had to be separated in 2 rooms away from each other, and I had to move that bed and the 3rd time to another place. And this place was Walid's room. Raghad has been sleeping in my room until further notice. In fact, it didn't bother me. She rarely gets up scared and screams at night anymore. I was reading a magazine while I was lying on my bed, and it was 10 o'clock at night and Raghad was falling into a quiet sleep. She seems to have had a bad dream because she suddenly got up and started crying in horror. I rushed to her and pulled her out of bed and took her calm down. Her crying was strange and sad. Calm down, baby. Come on, go back to sleep. Between moaning and crying, she said. Mama. I looked at the little one and felt sad. Perhaps she saw her mother in a dream. Do you want the mama, little one? Mama. I hugged her to my chest with affection. This orphan lost the most precious in the universe before she understood their meaning. I made her kiss, shake her in my lap and sing to her until I succumbed to sleep. I looked at her beautiful innocent face and felt sorry for her. I wished for her moment that I could turn into her mother or father to make up for what she had lost. I was determined to take care of this orphan and do everything possible for her. And I've done a lot. And the days. I proved it. One day we went to the beach for a fun trip, and since Dad, little Sammer, 8 years old, and I are good swimmers, we spent most of the time in the water. As for my mother, she had a hard and troublesome time with Dana and Raghad. Raghad was playing innocently with the wet sand. As for my mother, she had a hard and troublesome time with Dana and Raghad. Raghad was playing innocently with the wet sand, waving at Sammer and me, but Dana was constantly harassing her, hitting her, or throwing sand at her. Walid, come here. My mother called me, while I was swimming merrily. Yes, Mom? What do you want? And I got closer to her little by little. She said. Take Raghd for a while. What? No, Mom. I didn't want to interrupt my swimming pleasure in order to take care of this creature. Objected. I want to swim. Come on, Walid. For a while. To rest a little. I acquiesced to the hateful order and turned to the little girl while she was playing in the sand, and I called out to her. Come on, Raghd. Come to me. She rejoiced a lot and rushed towards me and hugged my wet legs with her arms stuck with them grains of wet sand, and with pleasure. I sat down next to her and started digging a hole with her. She seemed very happy, but I was upset that I was deprived of swimming. I got closer to the coast, and he lay down to my side, and I made her sit at the end of it and wet herself with cold salty sea water. Raghd is almost flying from happiness, playing here and there. It's probably the first time in her life that she meets the sea. While playing she tripped and fell into the water on her face. Oh no. I rushed to her and pulled her out of the water. She had drunk a lot of it, and she started coughing and crying together. My mother got mad at me because I didn't keep a good eye on her. Walid, how did you let her drown? Mom. She didn't sink, she fell for no more seconds. What if something happens? God forbid. You should pay more attention. Stay away from the coast. I got angry. I came here to enjoy swimming, not to watch the children. Mom, take care of her and I'll go back to the sea. I carried it to my mother and put it in her lap, and I turned around. At the same moment Dana screamed in protest. Raghad, who could not stop crying, came back to him again. See? I turned to my mother, and found the crying child holding out her hands to me. It's like she's begging me, and asking me to take her away. I came back, and held her in my arms, and she stopped crying, and she let out a beautiful laugh. What a slag these children are. I looked at my mother, and she smiled too and said, "She loves you, Walid." Just before we got back from this trip, my mom started cleaning things, and the kids. "Walid, clean the little girl's limbs and dress her in these clothes." I was surprised by this request. I'm not used to cleaning or dressing children. I may have heard something wrong. "What, Mom?" "Come on, Walid, clean the sand off her and dress her in this, while I take care of obesity and the rest of the things." I thought I had become a man, at least in Mom's eyes. But apparently I became a mother. A new mother for Raghd. Yes, I was a mother to this creature. I was the one who often fed her, slept with her in his bed, sang to her, played with her, endured her screams, and sometimes changed her clothes for her. And actually, I was enjoying this new role. And in the evening, I sang to her and deliberately made her sleep in my bed, kept contemplating her wonderful, innocent, angelic face, and I feel indescribable happiness. So, the days passed. And we grew up little by little. And I am like the spoiled mother or nanny of Raghad, who without realizing or anyone realizing has become mean to me. More than just an annoying creature that has broken into my life since childhood. To congratulate ends the first episode. Our date is in the second episode. Bye bye.